Today, I want to talk about a contract. Not a written one, not one you signed, but one that exists anyway. Because you showed up, because you voted, because you said, in effect, I choose this person to act on my behalf. That's what an election is. It's not a coronation. It's not a job interview that ends when someone gets hired. It's an ongoing agreement, a living contract between the people who hold power and the people who gave it to them. We have a phrase for it. We use it so often, it's almost lost its weight. Consent of the governed. It doesn't mean you consented once in November and that's the end of it. It means the legitimacy of the person in that seat, every single day they occupy it, depends on them actually doing the work you sent them there to do. The moment they stop doing that work without explanation, without accountability, without honest communication, that contract isn't paused. It's broken. I'm Seraphim Gray, and this is Ethos Track. I used to teach communication. My students and I frequently had accountability discussions. And one of the first things I would tell my students is, if you want to hold someone accountable, start with the job description. So let's look at the job description for a member of the United States House of Representatives. Article 1 of the Constitution says a representative must be at least 25 years old, a citizen for 7 years, and a resident of the state they represent. That's it. That's the entire job description. No attendance requirement, no minimum number of votes, no performance metrics, no review process. No one who can put you on a performance improvement plan. No one who can suspend you without pay. No HR department. No probationary period. The House rules do say, and I want to read this carefully, that, quote, every member shall be present within the hall of the House during its sittings, unless excused or necessarily prevented, and shall vote on each question put, unquote. Shall be present, shall vote. But here's what those rules don't include. Any penalty for not doing it. The rule exists. The enforcement mechanism does not. And before you ask, no, you can't recall a federal congressman under state law. New Jersey actually tried. Their state constitution says the people have the right to recall members of Congress. Voters approved it in 1993 with 76% of the vote. And in 2010, the New Jersey Supreme Court said, doesn't matter. Federal representatives are beyond the reach of state recall. The court said no. The only way to remove a sitting member of Congress, short of waiting for an election, is expulsion. That requires 2/3 vote of the full House. And in the entire history of the United States since the Civil War, it has happened exactly 3 times. All 3 involved members who had already been convicted of federal crimes and still refused to leave. Missing votes is not a fireable offense. There is no mechanism. The people who write the rules about accountability have written themselves out of accountability. Now, members of Congress miss votes. That is normal and documented. GovTrack has tracked it for years. The career average is around 2 to 3%. Most absences are a day or 2. Travel, a committee conflict, a family emergency. Extended absences happen too, and they happen across both parties. When members run for higher office, for instance, president, vice president, Senate, their vote attendance craters. J.D. Vance, while running for vice president, missed essentially all of his Senate votes. Tim Scott, while running for president in 2023, missed over 150 Senate votes, one of the highest totals in Senate history. Both sides of the aisle have this pattern. There is another category, medical absence. And here, there is a precedent that matters. In 2012, Illinois Representative Jesse Jackson Jr. stopped showing up. He had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was hospitalized twice at the Mayo Clinic. He missed 230 votes that year. He didn't campaign. He disappeared from public view. His colleagues and his own party called on him to be transparent with his constituents. He was re-elected in November while hospitalized. He won by 40 points. And then he resigned. His letter said this, quote, "The constituents of the 2nd District deserve a full-time legislator in Washington, something I cannot be for the foreseeable future," unquote. He named the contract. He acknowledged what he owed, and he honored it by stepping aside. I want you to hold that letter in your mind as we talk about what's happening right now. Tom Keene Jr. represents New Jersey's 7th Congressional District. He is 57 years old, the son of a former governor, and he is seeking a 3rd term in the House. He has not cast a vote since March 5th. As of this week, he has missed over 100 consecutive roll call votes, 100% of the votes held during that stretch. He has not been seen publicly. He has not appeared on video. He has not held events in his district. His office, after weeks of silence, released a statement saying he was dealing with a, quote, "personal medical issue," unquote. No details. His father, former Governor Tom Keene Sr., told CNN it took a real illness to knock him out. It won't linger. It's not going to incapacitate him in the future. His own doctors, we're told, have said recovery will be complete. He told one New Jersey outlet by phone, quote, "I anticipate that in the next couple of weeks, I'll return to voting and to the campaign trail," unquote. He has said that before. Meanwhile, and I need you to hear this part, his office has been posting on his social media accounts. He announced he was joining the Congressional Crypto Caucus. He sent a newsletter to constituents celebrating Police Week with a photo of himself with law enforcement that appears to have been taken 2 years ago. There is actually a process for when a congressional seat goes genuinely vacant. When Sonny Bono died in 1998, his constituents didn't wait. They held a special election. His wife Mary ran, won, and went to Washington to represent them. The people chose. Even in grief, even in crisis, the mechanism was the people decide. What is happening in New Jersey's 7th District right now has no name. There is no acting representative. There is no designated stand-in accountable to those constituents. There is no official timeline. There are staffers. There is a social media account. There is a newsletter with a 2-year-old photo. And there is a $174,000 salary being drawn. Tom Keene Jr. is running for re-election, unopposed in his primary, which he is winning by default. President Trump endorsed him this week, while he remains unseen. Now, what was that Crypto Caucus announcement? Now, I want to be precise here, because precision is what I owe you. I do not know what's wrong with Tom Keene Jr. I genuinely wish him a full recovery. Whatever he is dealing with, I hope he heals. But here is what I do know. The people of New Jersey's 7th District are not being represented. Every piece of legislation that has moved through the House since March 5th including bills that directly affect constituents of New Jersey's 7th District, has moved without their voice. Their seat has been a ghost seat, occupied in name, empty in fact. And unlike Jesse Jackson Jr., who ultimately said, "You deserve better than I can give you right now," the current posture from his office is, "We're fine, check back later. Here's a 2-year-old photo." The seat is not a possession. It is a trust. I've been doing this long enough to know that the instinct when we see something like this is to make it about one person, one party, one district. Don't. This story is a window into a structural problem that has no partisan owner. The rules that allow this to happen were written before we could track every vote in real time, before constituents had the tools to see, with precision, exactly what their representative is and isn't doing, before a district in New Jersey could watch in real time as their seat sat empty through 104 consecutive votes. The rules haven't caught up to the transparency. And until they do, until there is a job description with teeth, an attendance standard with consequences, a mechanism that puts constituent representation above congressional courtesy, this will happen again. It will happen in red districts and blue districts. It will happen to members who are sick and members who are running for something else and members who have simply decided that showing up is optional. The consent of the governed is not a November event. It is a daily obligation. And right now, in New Jersey's 7th, that obligation is going unmet. My name is Sarah Gray, and this is Ethos Trek. If you like this content, poke that thumbs up button. Leave a comment. Consider subscribing. It's totally free. It also helps the algorithm figure out what to do with my content. Thank you for listening.